Good morning, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. My name is Corrina, and I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest. It is Friday morning. I have Herbert the kitty sitting next to me. It is April 5th, and like I said, I'm coming to you from the Pacific Northwest, where I live with our two kitties, including Herbert right here and Harley, who is somewhere else, not sure where, and my partner and my two horses. So normally what I do is I start the podcast with a short video of me walking out to the barn. I actually haven't done that yet. I am moved on from my early morning cup of tea to an early morning cup of coffee. It is about 5:45 in the morning, and normally I have Fridays off because I work 4 10s. And today is a very busy day. So I decided to podcast early for two reasons. One is that it is a pretty busy day today, and I'll talk about that in a minute. And the second reason is as of April 1st, which is Monday, I decided I was not going to walk out to the barn and feed the horses. I was going to wait until it was light. And now it's getting to be light around, I can't see yet, but it'll be light by about 6:10. So what I've been doing is I've been working, going to work early. I work from home. For those of you who are new here, I hope I have some content for you that you enjoy. And if you're a returning viewer, welcome back. And I also hope that I have content for you to enjoy. So anyway, I typically start work quite early, and then once it gets to be light, I take a break and go out and feed the horses. Let me put my cup on a cup warmer, which I really enjoy having because probably like most crafters, I tend to put my beverage down and then it gets cool. So I really enjoy having warm tea and warm coffee when I drink coffee. So what am I up to today? I have already done some knitting, and I'll get to that in a minute. I actually have only a little bit of knitting content for you today. I am going to town to meet a friend to catch up for coffee. I will probably switch to decaf by then, which is, I'm sure, a really good idea. And run a couple errands, including dropping a fecal sample from my horses to do a fecal egg count so I know how to deworm them. So that's just part of annual or biannual horse care. It used to be that horses were dewormed on a regular schedule. What was found, though, is that that there began to be some parasite resistance, and so people would deworm their horses and they would still have a parasite load. So it's very much like antibiotic resistance. Make sure that you are taking the dose, the appropriate medication, and the dose that you need in order to fix the problem. You can see Herbert's ear. It's right here. Hi, little ear. He's playing with a piece of paper. A little piece of scrap paper next to me. So anyway, that's what I do every spring. I collect a composite sample of horse poop just in a plastic bag and take it to my vet to examine under the microscope. So that's one of the things I'm doing today. I also have some soft plastic recycling that I'm going to drop off at Walmart. Because they generously do soft plastic recycling here in Washington State. What else am I going to do today? Oh, I have a lesson with Bragi today. We are continuing our path to helping him understand that just because something is stressful and scary doesn't mean that it needs to be stressful and scary. We are working on trailer loading. And hopefully the goal is to get him to go along places with Odin, which I think he would really enjoy on some of the trail rides. And then, speaking of trail rides, I am taking Odin on a trail ride with two friends this morning. I think we're meeting at 11:30 and probably ride for an hour and two and then come back. And this afternoon, hopefully, is going to be a little bit less compacted schedule. I have some stuff to do out in the barn. I would like to start my tomato plants in the greenhouse. We'll see. It's been cold lately. It's in the 30s. It got not down to freezing, but into the 30s. And then tomorrow I'm hoping to go for a bike ride. And then, oh, well, I forgot this afternoon we have dinner plans. My partner and I have dinner plans. It was his birthday yesterday, so, and the restaurant I wanted to go to was closed, so I just made a reservation for tonight. And also, speaking of birthday, I was looking for these patterns, and I'm glad I had the video right here because here they are. So one of the presents besides dinner and his favorite carrot cake, I am going to make him these chili podsters mittens. So they're actually have like short finger gloves with a flap that goes over. It's a convertible mitten glove pattern by Glenna C. I can't remember if this is a free pattern. I've had it for a while. So the sizing is, hand circumference is 6.25 to 7 inches. Randy's hand is about 8 1/2, 8 3/4 around. And you do want some negative ease, but possibly not that much. So I am also going to use this Tin Can Knits pattern, the world's simplest mittens, as a guide. I have used this pattern on a couple pair of mittens that I made for myself, and I find that they fit well. And this pattern is for any weight of yarn. The Chili Podsters is for a worsted weight alpaca blend yarn, Barocco Ultra Alpaca. I'm wondering if I got this from the Barocco site, or it's like if you subscribe to their newsletter, they offer free patterns periodically, and I can't remember if that was one of them or not. So worsted weight, it takes 100 yards of yarn, and they do have a size 8 1/2 around, so that's pretty cool. So I'm feeling kind of excited about this. And let's see, for worsted weight, you cast on 40 stitches for the world's simplest, and let's see what the Chili Podsters. So I've already kind of inadvertently gotten into the knitting portion of this. Oh, interesting. So what they're saying, the small size is cast on 40 stitches. So I'm going to do that, and hopefully it'll work. If it doesn't, I am going to, I guess they'll be for me because I have smaller hands. So that is pretty exciting. What else do I want to talk about? So I said I was going to talk about knitting. Most of this podcast is going to be a vlog of the bicycle tour that we did last weekend. It was a lovely weekend last weekend, and we decided we were going to load up our bicycles and park at a friend's house and then ride our bikes on the White Horse Trail, which goes from Arlington to Darrington, and it goes through the Oso Slide Memorial. So I talk a lot about the Oso Slide, which you may or may not remember. I'm pretty sure it got national attention. It was a landslide that happened on March 22nd, 2014, and it wiped out a whole subdivision that was near kind of a rural subdivision. And it wiped out that whole community near the town of Oso, which is a rural logging town historically. 43 lives were lost. There were 11 survivors, and not only was the age range from a 4-month-old baby to a 90-plus-year-old person. And it was a massive, I believe, a national rescue effort to to save the survivors and retrieve bodies for proper burial. Not only were there residents of this community that were lost in this slide, but one person who was lost was a commuter who was just traveling to work. Yeah, it's a very sobering local event. Some of it has to do with geology, some of it has to do with land use practices, and there was some logging that went on a hill above this river valley. It's the Stillaguamish River. So, terrible tragedy for the community, for everyone involved, and there is a fantastic memorial that was really just complete right before the 10-year anniversary. All that to say, a lot of this podcast is going to have footage from that. I also have footage from a trail ride that I did with Odin the Mustang last weekend. Must have been on Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. A very short segment of that, including the trail map. So I hope you enjoy that. If you don't, I am getting to the knitting. I promise. It's 12 minutes in and I've been blathering on about a lot of things. So first thing I want to show you is the progress that I have made on this sweater. So this is the Calliope sweater. This is a free pattern. It is meant to have about 10 to 14 inches of ease. I have finished the body and the sleeve. The sleeve comes down to my elbow. I kind of was hoping I had enough yarn. I was definitely playing yarn chicken with this. I was kind of hoping that it would end up with 3/4 sleeves, but this is how it ended up. You can see that there's a difference in shading in the yarn, and I think a lot of this really has to do with the mohair. I noticed that the mohair really varied from a light to a very light and almost undyed. So I think that was a lot of it. The other yarn that I'm holding double is a hand-dyed yarn from Knitivity. It's a tonal, it's very consistent and beautiful. Let's see if I have it's the Fiddle Bits sock base. And this just happens, the number is the colorway, and I bought 2 skeins of this. Thought about making another love note, but I actually really enjoy this pattern. I think, and I knew that I was going to play yarn chicken with the size that I chose. I chose the 3rd size because of the amount of ease that it was recommending. However, I think I could get away with making even the smallest size if I wanted a fitted, and then I would get the full length sleeves, which are meant to be quite long. Herbert's going to push my pattern off the sofa, so he's trying to chew on it. So these are the mitten patterns. I'm going to put those back up here out of his reach and let him chew on a receipt instead. So this is the Calliope pattern, and the sleeves are meant to be quite long. I have another set of yarn that I can, sorry, the pattern is really crinkled, but here it is. So Calliope by East Base Tricot, Tricot, La Knitterie Moderne. So Melissa Clulow, or Clulow, is the designer. So the last name is spelled Clulow, if you're interested in this pattern. Anyway, I have more yarn for this pattern, different color, with some undyed mohair and a more variegated, like darker purple yarn that I actually used. It's yarn from a frog project. Herbert's just really interested in that little piece of paper. So I think I'm going to do this again with that and make the smaller size, because I think I will. This will be great for a, you know, kind of a more fall winter layering piece. And I am almost, well, I'm only just a couple of rows into the next, the second sleeve. So it'll be a finished object the next time I see you. I haven't worked on the cowl that the Colorwork cowl, the Cryptid cowl that I have shown you. So I kind of lost focus on it, and it's not really cowl season. I don't know why I think it's sweater season. Well, every season. No, look, there's Herbert. Thanks for joining us. I'm not sure if he knows what to make of this video. But I have been focusing on socks. So let me reach down and grab this bag. I finished one sock. I can't remember if I showed this to you last time, but I have the one sock finished. This is from a book I'll show you in a second. It's unblocked. And I don't block my socks. I just wear them and then wash them. So Colorwork. The yarn is by, it's part of an Advent, so Legacy Fiber Arts. I tried using the, he wants to eat it. Oh, no, I don't think so. I tried using the mini that came with it, but there wasn't enough contrast. So I used a scrap from another project. I think this purple yarn is, it might be a Knit Picks. Or it could be leftover scrap yarn or sock yarn from a self-striping like Freckled Whimsy. So I am on the heel flap for the second sock. I can dig it out without pulling out any needles. So I've got this top part done. I use Chogu red lace, size 0, magic loop for the main sock part. For the color work, I use a bigger needle. I use Addie's Flexi Flips in size, US size 1, which are 2.5, you can see that, 2.5 millimeters. And that gives it just, you know, because color work tends to like suck in and be a little bit tighter. So using that larger size really helps. This is the book, 52 Weeks of Socks. You'll remember that I finished intersection socks, which is the first sock pattern. I think I finished those in February. So this pattern is called Mica. And you can see that there is let me see if I can make sure I'm showing this to you. There is a definite contrast. This sock, Herbert's chewing on the book now. Yes. Contrast, so using tonal yarns with what looks like an undyed yarn. I believe this is, I want to say this is a decade or a sport weight yarn, because it's 200 yards per 50 grams. and I am using fingering weight. I just used in this stitch count is 40, cast on 48 for the small and 56 for the medium. And I just cast on the 56 with fingering weight because that is the size that I always knit. I know I'm always distracted when I do these podcasts, but Herbert isn't helping because he's trying to chew on like every little thing that I have. I'm using a Patton's Croy yarn ball thing for a bookmark, and he was trying to chew on that. So that's where I am with that. Once I finish these, I plan to start on those mittens. For Randy, I do need to buy yarn for that, so that's a great excuse to go to my local yarn store. That is all the knitting content I have for you. So if you are here for just the crafting and knitting part, thanks for coming. I just also want, since this is also in the background, I want to show you this blanket. It looks like Herbert might have gotten to it. So this is a crochet blanket that I made for Randy quite a few years ago. I don't know if you can see the pattern. And this is, I think this is an acrylic blend yarn. So, so it's a lap blanket. Herbert likes to chew on yarn, so I expect everything to have holes in it. Fortunately, acrylic recovers very well from that, and it's pretty easy to repair. So I hope you enjoy the rest of the content, and I am going to skip the little video session of walking out to the barn. Today is supposed to be, I'm looking out the window, today is supposed to be just cloudy with temperatures up in the low 50s eventually. So so a little bit cooler than what we have. You can see Herbert's ear. All that to say, have a great day. I will see you next time, and I hope you enjoy the bicycle touring footage. Oh, trail ride on a spring day. Getting ready for the bike trip. A whole swamp of skunk cabbage. This is our trail. There's Randy way down there. This is the entrance to the Oso landslide that happened March 22nd in 2014, and if I remember correctly, 23 lives were lost. These are the addresses of the homes over there. That is the hillside that gave way. So here's a better view of the landslide, and then the memorial. Lots of metalwork in remembrance of everyone who perished. Okay, my mistake. It was 43 people who were killed. Some of them were entire families. The sign says victims ranged in age from 4 months old to 91 years of age, including residents of the community, workers who were there for the day, and then a driver passing through on her way to work. Most of the mountains in this part of the world are volcanic, but these look like there was some uplifting in them. White Horse Mountain, including the glacier between the two peaks. Birds. white horse again from the Darrington Bluegrass stage area. This is the amphitheater. And Randy playing air banjo or something. White horse. This is Mount Higgins. Beautiful part of the Stillaguamish River. Back in the Oso slide area. Those trees on the top of the slide are probably at least